Hi everybody. In this video, we will talk about the Socratic questioning method. Socratic questioning method is one of the most popular and powerful teaching approaches that can be used to guide students in generating thoughtful questions and thus fostering their critical thinking skills. Instead of providing direct answers, the Socratic questioning approach stimulates students' minds by continually probing into the subject with thought-provoking questions. Through the use of thought-provoking questions, Socrates helped his students gain deeper insight and understanding and develop coherent lines of reasoning on which to base their thoughts and beliefs. This method is systematic, disciplined, deep, and usually focuses on fundamental concepts, principles, theories, or problems. And according to Socrates, the best way to teach is the question-answer process. A primary goal is to formulate principles by which to live, principles that emerge out of the conceptual understanding. And Socratic dialogues are usually focused on a specific complex concept or question, and exemplify a disciplined form of conceptual analysis. And now, Muhammed will talk about the brief history of this method.
Thank you so much, Hande. Hi guys, I am Muhammet. Let's talk about the brief history of Socratic questioning. First of all, I wanna say that there is no exact history of this method and not much things to say. The Socratic method was derived from the Greek philosopher Socrates himself, of course. He improved an educational system that focused on discovering answers, actually not learning them. Let me explain that process. Socrates is asking questions, let's say, like when, where, why, or is there other opinions but yours? And students are seeking the answers. At the end of these discussions, students discovered the answers by themselves. After this, Socrates teachers begin to use this system as a pedagogical method, especially in the past 2 decades. Let's keep going with the Hande.
And now, let's talk about the process of Socratic questioning method. Sum up the students' point of view or argument. Get them to clarify their position and try to repeat it back to theirs, and ask them to provide their evidence. Find out why they are thinking in that way. Discover the facts, beliefs, or assumptions that underpin their standpoint. Challenge their assumptions. Use further questions to show any wrong assumptions. You may need to provide other evidence, but try and structure this as a question. Try and get them to find an exception that proves their own theory wrong. Get them to reformulate their position. Once they see that they have a wrong assumption, get them to renew their thinking and restate it. And start the process again if necessary. Now they have a new point, so you can go back to the start of the process. This process helps to drill down to the core of the issue. And there are tips for using this method. Firstly, plan significant questions that provide structure and direction to the lesson. And use wait time. Maintain silence and wait at least 5 to 10 seconds for students to respond. Ask probing questions. Stimulate the discussion by asking probing questions like, why do you think so? Or what do you think about this? And periodically summarize in writing key points. Summarize what has been discussed and write the key points on Blackboard so that everybody can see and follow the topic. And an important point, do not ask yes/no questions because students do that to promote thinking and encourage the discussion, so let them discover knowledge on their own. And now we will watch a video.
In this video, there's a teacher who uses this method with her students. He handed out a picture which called waterfall and let the students think about it and started discussion on it actually. Let's watch it.
And before we start talking, I'd just like you to look at it for a minute and think about what do you notice? And also, what does it remind you of? Can you think of anything that it reminds you of? What do you notice and what does it remind you of? Just sort of think about it for a minute. All right, and my first question to you today is, where is this place?
Underwater.
It's underwater?
Well, if it was underwater, why would there be a waterfall? To see
It's what, Devontae?
coral and stuff.
You see coral and that makes you think that it's underwater?
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's people out. Yeah, and people can't.
They're drying their clothes. Okay.
It could be like the coral part could be an underwater garden or something.
So maybe part of it's underwater. Did anybody have an idea that maybe it was somewhere besides underwater? Did anybody have a different idea? Okay, so
Somewhere out in the desert, because you can see in the background, it doesn't look very grassy. Maybe a few trees and a few bushes, but we would sit.
As you can see, the teacher is directing our students to the topic, to the picture here in this example. After she starts a conversation about it, discussion about it, then let the students think on it deeply. And this video is keep going on like that. So let's talk about the advantage and disadvantage of Socratic questioning. The method is all about brainstorming together with the help of the communication. So this leads students to gain active learning and listening skills. While we are brainstorming, we are doing critical thinking exercises as well. So students' critical thinking skills are gonna be improved too. Socratic questioning challenges students and pushes them to think on the topic deeply. Later then, it teaches them what to do when being challenged, let's say. So aren't there any disadvantages of this method? Yes, there are. So let's talk about them. Ease of failure rate without students' participation. Socratic questioning is a student-centered method, so without students' participation, this method is kind of useless, let's say. A fear of public speaking is common. Not every one of us has the self-confidence enough to speak in public, so people who has problem with the speaking in public are probably cannot join this method's activities. Loss of interest is possible when a professor is speaking with an individual student. Let's imagine that I am a teacher and I have talked with one of my students the whole class time. So the other participants would probably be bored and do not try to discover answers themselves. There is often no right answer. This is a problem when you want to teach positive science lessons like physics and maths, because in those lessons there are facts that cannot be discussed. And it is sometimes difficult to handle the multiple responses for a given question.
And as a conclusion, as I said before, Socratic questioning is a popular method that is used in education, and it is an effective way to encourage students to think about themselves and their thoughts. Thank you for listening.